heart in a wild twisted maze. Leather, steel and fire, the open roads are thrown by the life televised, we're breaking every bone. Adrenaline surges, brace from the fall. Hitting it with HardWire, hear the engine scream. Living fast and reckless, this is a metal dream. Riding hard, never slowing. In the spotlight we shine, a biker's brutal journey. This life is ours divine. With HardWire, the crowd screams our name, chasing down the shadows, we're addicted to the fame. Chains rattling loud, the brotherhood's alive. Every episode turns up, we're here to survive. From dusk till dawn, we're the keys of this brew. Hitting it with HardWire, hear the engine scream. Living fast and reckless, this is a metal dream. Riding hard, never slowing. In the spotlight we shine, a biker's brutal journey. This life is ours divine. On the edge of chaos we embrace the feel. Hitting it with HardWire, we'll always be here.
Hey, welcome to Hittin It with HardWire. What's happening, everybody? What's new? Anything? What's happening, McCrapnin? Oh man, hope everybody had a good holiday weekend. I was going to do the show from the camper, but we didn't bring any of the. We forgot to bring all the stuff, the tripod and whatnot, for me to try to use my phone. So I said, you know what? I'll just postpone it. Wait till tomorrow. Put on there. We're doing it tomorrow. No biggie. And for those not on my got a crazy hair. Crazy one. It's good, got a mind of its own. Forgot what I was saying. What's up then, Gary? Motobomb, good to see you. Jason. Frank was in here earlier. Frank, Jason, Gary, Motobomb, and Jason. Did I say Jason already? It's been a long weekend and a long week. For those of you who aren't on my Facebook or aren't privy to what's going on with me over the last week, Monday, in my infinite wisdom, I decided I was going to text my old lady and tell her, you know how I'm always a Ford guy and blah, blah, blah. And I'm always cracking jokes on you and you're always cracking jokes on me, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, I decided I want to look at a new truck or a new to me truck, and to see if I could find something that'll pull the camper a little better. And I tell her, I said, you'll never believe this, but I'm looking at a Dodge. And she used to have a Dodge Dakota. She always goes on and on about how much she loved her Dodge Dakota. And I wasn't going to get a Dodge Dakota. That wouldn't have pulled the camper worth of shit. But what's up, Soundproof? At any rate, I said, you never believe us. I'm looking at a Dodge. I said, well, it can't hurt to look. I said, we probably aren't going to get anything, but we'll look. And I went to the car lot where one of the guys in the club works for. He works for them as a technician. Can I help you? If I do, it'd be upstairs. I don't know where that came from. What the fuck was I talking about? Oh, I decided I was going to go look in the truck. And we go, and I'm looking at a Dodge that's got a 3.6 in it. Now, the first thing I tell the guy, I need some. I have the 2.7 twin turbos. I need something that'll pull better than the 2.7 Ford. What's up, Tommy and Steve? I tell him I need something that'll pull better than that. And he shows me this 2020 Dodge 1500 with the 3.6, which I didn't mind so much because I wanted, if I could help it, I wanted to stay something that was decent gas miles but pulls better. I said, it's a 3.6. If it's anything like the Ford 3.6, it's going to be a pull motherfucker, because I think it's the 3.6 that the Ford had that was twin turbos, and it pulls like a beast, and I don't know any different. And I'm so frustrated when they're going through all these numbers with me, and then they're telling me what they're going to give me for my truck. I thought I'd break even. Didn't break even on my truck, and I'm just like starting to feel a little disgusted. And I said, well, yeah, there's no brake controller in there for the trailer, and we got a trip planned this weekend, and they're trying hard to sell me this thing. And I'm like, I don't like the payments. The payments are making me nauseous. And he's like, have you seen the price of trucks lately? I'm like, well, yeah. He said, this is a good deal. And I'm looking at him, I'm going, well, I did look around at a lot of trucks, and this is a good deal. It is a pretty good deal, but the trucks are fucking expensive. It's a 2020, but it's only got 41,000 miles on it. So somebody didn't drive it all that much. Okay. And I wanted a V8, but then you're looking at the truck I was looking at was 27,000. If you want a fucking V8, then you're looking at going to another $10,000 more, like 36,000 or so. And then you're talking close to $1,000 a month for a fucking payment. And I said, there ain't no way in hell. I was already disgusted at the payment that they was telling me I was going to get. And they got me an 11.5% interest rate, which is way better than I thought I was going to get. I thought I was going to end up getting some shit because my credit's locked. My old lady's credit's pretty decent. And I went rounds and rounds with this guy. I called him back the next day, and I said, dude, I Googled the stats on this truck. And I said, and it says it has almost 100 less horsepower than my truck did, and 100 foot-pounds less of torque in the low end. And you tell me this is going to pull better than mine? I said, you're out of your damn mind. I said, I think you're trying to screw me. And then I drove the truck around for a day, and I must admit, it is a nice truck. Okay, it's got all the fancy, like, big screen and all that in it, and it's a crew cab, which I didn't want a crew cab whenever I bought my truck because you lose a foot of bed space, and it turns out, while I did enjoy the bed space, the only time I ever needed it was when I had a bike in the back of my truck. That was the only time I ever needed it. I never used the extra bed space. So I'm basically falling in love with the truck myself. And I said, well, you have got to put a brake controller in it. And then they're trying to say, well, an aftermarket brake controller. I said, no, absolutely no way, shape, or form. If you remember me bitching and complaining before about what the camping world did to my other truck, I wanted a factory one, and they screwed me and put an aftermarket one in. And I said, under no circumstances whatsoever will I settle for anything but a regular factory brake controller, because it integrates with the whole computer system and all that. It's less obtrusive. They don't have to drill holes in it. It just goes in a little spot. Same thing with the Dodges. My Ford was the same way. They got a little spot for them. And they didn't want to do it. Then they wanted to say, well, I'll tell you what, how much you think it'll cost? I said, well, it's my understanding I should be able to get it done for around $300. And he says, well, we'll throw in $300 towards a brake controller. And they're thinking they're going to like sell me a brake controller for $900 or some kind of crazy shit. And then they call me back the next day and tell me they get me the brake controller. And it's $600 and they'll put it in for free. Well, I get a hold of the guy that works there as one of their technicians, and he says, "Dude, they sell this in this kit. You buy the controller, the little screws, and the little pieces, and you could buy it as a little kit of little aftermarket pieces, and I can get it for you for $218, as opposed to what they were telling me was like $600 if you bought it all together." And I'm like, "Well, that's way better, you know." So he gets that and puts it in for me, and they also give me a bumper to bumper zero deductible warranty for 5 years. And basically, I got a new truck. And it pulls, I was pleasantly surprised at how well it pulled. It didn't pull as bad as I thought it would. It didn't pull as good as they acted like it would. It didn't, it's a nicer truck than mine was because mine was getting older. It's a naturally aspirated 3.6 as opposed to turbo, which means it'll last longer. So that's one of my biggest concerns is my Ford was a 2016 F-150, which was the bad year to have gotten the new turbo engines, Ecotec engines. That was the worst year, and they had the most amount of trouble with them. And I've heard about how hard and expensive they are to fix, and mine was getting up close to 100,000 miles, and that's when you're going to start having issues. And I was pretty concerned about it. And well, this is a 3.6 Pentastar engine or whatever, and naturally aspirated, no turbos or nothing. And they say that these things, if you take care of them and you change the oil in them and everything, they'll last you. It's not uncommon from the last between 200,000 and 300,000 miles or more. And I'm like, well, that's fantastic. I mean, but I knew I had to go from the aluminum body to the, now I've got a regular steel body, so it's heavier, and I don't have to worry about rust more so. I mean, even the Fords still have the frame and everything still so you still got to worry about rust, but you didn't have to worry about the undersides of your wheel wells and all that. At any rate, I was raised a Ford guy, and I prefer a Ford, but I am a more of a whatever the hell gets me where I'm going kind of person. Because I have had, I tell you, I had a 90, somewhere in the 90s Chevy Blazer. That was a 4-wheel drive. I beat the tar out of that thing. I mean, that was back in my days when I used to drink a lot more, and we used to just go for shits and giggles and just bash the shit out of vehicles, man. Just and take them out and run them through damn near ponds just to try to see what we can get them stuck in. I beat the crap out of that Blazer, and that thing just kept on going, and it made it through some mud holes that some of the bigger trucks wouldn't go through. So I have to say, I don't have anything bad to say about them either. I had a Toyota one time that was lifted. It was a small Toyota, and other than being my first 4-wheel drive, and back then they didn't have automatic hubs, I got it stuck, and I couldn't figure out why. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And here I had forgotten to get out and lock the hubs in because it was my first 4-wheel drive, and I'm freaking out. And that's, yeah, my dumb ass forgot to lock the hubs in. And once I figured that out, I was good. I did own a Dodge Ram a long time ago, but I didn't own it for very long. It wasn't that I had any issues with it. It was a passing part of a deal. I drove it around for a while and ended up getting rid of it again. But I went from an F-150 to now I got a Dodge. I got running boards, steps to put on the sides. I got to put on there black. It's a black truck. I didn't really. While black is one of my favorite colors, obviously I wear a lot of black. I never. Black vehicles are so fucking hot inside during the summer. I could have. I did see one F-150 or yeah, I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was an F-150 with the V6 diesel engine in it. That I've almost bought because it was rated at like 12,000 pounds and it would have pulled my camper like it was nothing. But it had a lot more miles on it for the same price, or actually a little bit more. And I heard a lot of the newer diesel vehicles have a lot of emissions problems, especially if you do like I do and I don't drive that far to work. The engines don't have enough time to heat up and they have a lot of issues with them. So I did not want to go and do all that and have all them issues. There is a couple little dings in it. There's one that I did not notice on the passenger side that actually I'm going to have to fill because it's all the way down to the metal, and I didn't see that one until after I took it camping, and it's just a ding like a rocket hit it or something, but it's a deep one. Well, it's on the bottom side of one of the back doors. So it looks, I will almost venture a guess that somebody opened the door and hit something with it at one point. But it's a 2020 3.6 liter Dodge Ram 1500. Doesn't sit real high. At least it doesn't seem like it. It's a nice ride. Things rides nice. It's quiet. I like it so far. And we went camping this weekend. I pulled the camper with it. It didn't do any worse, or it seemed like it was almost better in spots. Where mine sometimes my old F-150 had a little bit of trouble, like kind of getting it started. It didn't seem like it had, even though they say the torque, the low end torque is what matters the most. My old F-150 supposedly had more torque. It didn't seem to want to get it moving, and this truck didn't seem to have that problem. But it revs really high going up hills, and it does not. I will not win any speed contests going up the steep hills. But I drive like a fucking grandpa most of the time. If I'm not on my bike and if I'm in my truck, I drive like a grandpa. But you get me on a bike and I ride like a fucking retard. I don't know what it is. But I don't. When I was younger, I used to drive like an idiot. But since I got older, it ain't worth it. It just ain't. I do. I got a picture of it on my phone, but I don't have a picture to show. It's a 2020 Dodge Ram. They all look kind of the same. It's got the painted bumpers and shit. I had to buy a tonneau cover for it. Surprisingly, they're not that expensive. The kind that I had on, same kind as I had on my F-150, but my F-150 came with it, so I never had to see how much they cost. The newer Rams have this really cool, like little rack. They have this really cool little rail that goes down the inside of the bed that you could move your attachments on. Mine doesn't have it, but they're only 200, like a little over $200. I priced them while I was at the dealership, and I think I'm gonna get those because those look really cool. They look like they'd be really fucking handy. And it doesn't. Some of the newer ones have these. I was looking at all the new Dodges while I was there fucking around because they had me waiting forever. Some of the new Dodges have these cool toolboxes built into the. But those are cool. I don't have those. But those were neat. Mine does have the neat little secret, like they're. I don't know about how secret they are. Everybody knows they're there now, but underneath the back floor, if you lift up the mats, there's little, like almost like little glove boxes under there. Good for hiding your uh self-defense mechanism items or whatever you may not want people to readily know you have. Now that weed's legal everywhere, you don't really have to hide your stash of weed or anything. And if it hasn't, even most places where they still haven't legalized it, they basically decriminalized it anyway. So here, I haven't done it yet.
Shit.
There you go. I got you. I get it in there. So yeah, that's been the interest of my week. I was just reading an article, since we usually talk a little bit about world politics. I was just reading an article about the federal courts have some left court somewhere, a court of appeals has blocked Donald Trump's tariffs, and I just can't believe that they would let that. I thought that was already settled by the courts. Apparently, it wasn't. A federal judge in a federal appeals court has given them till, I think he said October 30th or something, so that they can in turn appeal their decision, which I'm sure they're going to. But they said they did it based on the grounds of Trump had no right to declare a state of emergency, because he imposed the tariffs under the emergency act, whichever one he used, and they said there was no emergency. Now, who the fuck I want to know who the fuck a federal judge sitting on a bench is to say that they have more of authority to say what they think is an emergency than the president of the United States of America. Like, fuck you, seriously. That's just literally looks like activism, plain and simple. They don't like that he's doing it, so they're going to keep doing it, and that's brought in tons of money, and also Trump has used that as a tool to get other countries to invest in business here rather than have to pay the tariffs. Okay, so if the fucking federal appeals court or whatever strikes down Trump's ability to do that, what they're trying to say is he has to go and get Congress's approval for all these tariffs, which I'm pretty sure if you go back through time, Donald Trump's not the only fucking president that's ever done it, okay, without Congress's approval. And Democrats didn't bitch when it was their president that did it. Yo, hypocritical fuckers. And it's just driving me nuts. And they will shoot themselves in the foot, to just to go through some Trump derangement bullshit. That it has proven Trump has proven them wrong, that he can use tariffs to do something that's actually beneficial, which is why tariffs were fucking designed in the first fucking place. Okay. So he decided to use it for what it was meant for in the first place, to help level the playing field and to help keep businesses here. Okay. That just really freaking irks me. It just really irks me. I just read it not like right before the show starts. That just really irks me. To no end. And I apologize. I haven't been reading your guys' comments here for a minute. I have to go back. Hey, what's happening, Glare? Yeah, my fucking show ended up on Monday. See, I talked to I've got some guests lined up and everything that we're going to try to have on the show. Uh, I told BD I'd have him on the show. He would love to be on the show sometime. I told Logic I would like to have him on the show sometime. I'm gonna have Glare back on the show again. But it's hard for me to do that when right now my schedule has been so screwy. I don't want to try to set up something with somebody and then have to change it at the last minute because I got something else going on. During the winter, I was doing good at the every Sunday at 2 o'clock thing. So come winter time, we will get back to a little bit more of a regular schedule. And congratulations to Hittin It with HardWire. We just had our 1 year anniversary of doing the show.
Shit.
I got a notification over the week that says we're 1 year into doing the show, and yay! Like congratulations and stuff. And yeah, I thought that they ruled that the federal courts judges weren't supposed to be making like all these decisions to try to fucking undermine the president. Like they're legislating from the bench. They're not supposed. I thought they had made a ruling where they wasn't supposed to do that, and it's just what the Democrats are doing right now. Just blows my mind. They're shooting themselves in the fucking foot. For policies and things, they're even fighting just because it's Trump. They don't give a fuck if it's better for the country. Is what's driving me nuts. I mean, Democrats will always be Democrats. Neither side is that fucking fantastic, to be honest. But fucking really, if something's proven to be working out, and it seemingly is pushing us in the right direction, we've been headed in the wrong direction for a while. We're headed in a decent direction, and the Democrats are trying to block it at every turn. And I really think it's going to come back and bite them in the fucking ass too, because they ought to be able to admit when they were wrong about something. They just can't fucking do it. They can't. They hate Trump so bad they can't admit that Trump has ever done anything that's been good at all. Anything. They can't admit the border policy has been good. They can't admit the fucking that any of his economic policy has been helpful. They can't admit to none of it. None of it. They can't give him any credit for anything. And it's fucking nauseating. It really is. I understand some of it, because I get it. They don't like the guy, but man, you don't got to fucking even when things are proven that you were wrong, you still won't give up the fucking ship and admit that he was right about something. So what's happening, Steve? How you been? Yeah. Are y'all healed up yet? I know you. Uh, and the other thing, remember me bitching about my fucking toilet in my camper? Like, there's only one more thing that I think can go wrong with a fucking toilet. And it started leaking again this weekend. And guess what it is? It's the one other valve that I didn't fucking replace. There's a foot, there apparently is a valve in behind the foot pedal. And it started leaking. It's like, come on, man. What the fuck? Seriously? Like, it never fucking ends with this fucking thing. It's like, it's always something. I'll have replaced every part of that fucking toilet pretty soon. I'm an idiot. All the times I was injured and they wanted me to do physical therapy. Only time I ever did it was when they made me do it there. Like I had to go in and do it. Then I did it when they started saying you got to go home and make sure you're doing this every day. I'm like, sure, yeah, I'm on that shit. Yeah, I actually asked one of the other campers. I said, "Well, we've been doing this for years. We've had a few similar to yours, and we've had a lot of them over the years." I said, "Is it normal? Like every fucking time you take this thing out for something to go wrong?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty normal." I'm like, "What the fuck, man? I should have talked to more people that had campers before I bought one, I guess." But I am enjoying it. I am enjoying it, and there are little things. The valve that was leaking like $12. I bought 2 of them. I must have stabbed myself in the finger. Didn't realize it. Uh, yeah, I bought 2 of them, and then whenever the other fucking valve thing went bad, I bought 2 of those, so I got an extra one the next time if it ever happens again. So now I have 2. I have an extra one of those, and then now when I replace this valve, I'll have an extra one of those. Yeah, I'm finding that out, but man, there can't be too many more things to go wrong with it. There just can't be. I put so many fucking things in it already. I shouldn't say anything. I haven't. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about it. Don't even want to talk about that. But I have an extra heating element just in case, because I thought at one point in time with the water heater, I thought that's what went wrong with my water heater, and it wasn't that. It's just my dumb ass couldn't figure out how to work it right. But I have an extra heating element because of that, so now I have more spare parts, and then I still have to tap out I guess it'd be like a bung. It's got the anode rod goes in. It's rust. The threads are really rusty, and I could barely get it to turn in, but it didn't leak this year, so I left it alone. I figure at the end of the year, I bought a tap to run in there and clean it out. Uh, well, see you later, Blair. Thanks for stopping in, man. Appreciate it. Uh, yeah, if anybody gets a chance to stop over on Stax's channel and check out Mike's interview on there, and uh, I have to say I've been on Stax's show a lot recently, and when I first started watching it, there were some things on there that rubbed me the wrong way, and so my initial impression of Stack's show was not to like it, but I've watched it more and more, and I feel like he's got a little more better as I've watched it, and he seems to be one of them fellows you gotta. I don't know. Yeah, it takes a little while to get a measure of what how what somebody means when he says things certain ways, and he seems to be one of them kind of guys. You just don't know how to take some of the things he says at first. I've known a lot of people that way. A lot of people have rubbed me wrong initially until I learned how they are, and then you learn that that's just the way they talk. They don't mean anything by it, and I do it sometimes too. To be honest, uh, I've inadvertently I've had some people say I sometimes talk slow and explain things like they're stupid, and I'm like, that's not at all. I just want to make sure that you understand what I'm saying. Not really meant to be insulting. Not at all. The way that I explain things sometimes, I look at it more of a. I'm trying to explain to you like a teacher would explain it to a student. You know, when you're trying to teach somebody something, it's not meant to be insulting, and some people do find that to be insulting when you talk to them that way. Not intended to be. Not intended to be at all. And I honestly, when I first started watching Hollywood Show years ago, he had said some things that really rubbed me the wrong way. And then since I have watched his shows more, talked to some people that know him and everything, and it was just something that rubbed me the wrong way. He doesn't seem like he's that bad of a guy. He seems like he's actually a pretty good dude, from what I can tell. I have not met him yet. Like I have met and hung out with Mike. I can honestly say Mike's a pretty good dude, man. From firsthand experience, I have not met Hollywood yet. I don't know if that day will ever come that I will. I got to meet Dr. Harley. He from what I hung out with him a little bit. I hung out with him and have interacted with Dr. Harley. He seems like a pretty good dude. There's some things that irritate me about the whole biker news thing. You could tell when somebody's really trying hard to make like that, they're not just something they want to do, something they want to say when they're doing it because that's their livelihood and their income stream. Then they tend to be more clickbaity, use the headlines that are just to draw people in, whether it's accurate or not. And some things in the motorcycle world, you got to be very careful what you say because you can cause some of these younger kids to see it on the news and automatically take it as gospel, as if it's true. And they will go out and start hunting people from other clubs based on what they saw on the fucking news. So you have to be careful what you say. Don't go spewing things unless you say, come right out and say that that's all speculative. It's all hearsay. And since a couple of stories they have come out after they originally said it, and then come out a little bit because some people called them on it and come out a little bit later and said, well, just so you know, this is all speculation. There's no proof of any of this. And that's just what they're saying. They think might be what happened or whatever. And that's more responsible reporting anyway. If you're going to report it, be careful. Just be careful because it can have some bad, fairly disastrous consequences. Because I do know the kind of idiots that will watch it and automatically assume it's true and will go looking for people based off of anger over what they heard and don't like people that do things like that. But they exist, and wars can start over speculation. So you got to just, be aware, be aware of that, and it irritates me. And I get on there, and I try to call them on a lot of times too. Man, be careful, just be careful. I know I'm nobody to most of them, like Stacks and Hollywood. I'm nobody to them guys. They don't give two flying fucks about me. Okay. But I get on there and say, please be cautious in the things that you say because it can have unintended consequences. I don't for a minute think that they would do something intentional to intentionally do that, but just be careful not to inadvertently cause a whole lot more problems. Because I don't want the fucking issues. Okay, I don't want to deal with it. I got enough shit on my plate. I don't need a bunch of bullshit, especially if it's bullshit. I don't need to deal with it. Uh, I don't know very much, and I'm not privy to getting like unanimous phone calls and all that shit from people to tell people about stuff. And sometimes, believe it or not, even though I'm in one of the big clubs that they talk about, I don't even hear it. I don't even hear about it until I see it on the fucking news. Then I'll start going, "Hey, what the fuck's going on?" And then I'll be like, "Oh yeah, well, because when you're a part of a big organization, then they start acting like if they talk about the fact that it's on the news or they can't tell anybody else about it because then it makes them sound like they actually did something wrong. It's kind of dumb in a way. I get it, but at the same time, I think it's kind of just because you say, "Hey, did you know that there supposedly something had?" You could say it like that, so at least people will know what there's something going on. But yeah, this whole peace thing that they're supposedly like a big peace summit where everybody's talking like somewhat big. Dude, you almost have to in this day and age. Look at how many times people are trying to get away with the things you used to get away with, and there's a lot of the strikes back and forth and this and that. And look at how they're getting them every fucking time. Every fucking time. They're getting them on cameras here, cameras there, cell phones here, cell phones there. They're fucking laying the hammer on everybody. You can't get away with fucking nothing. So you're not going to, you almost have no choice. It don't have to be a friendship. It's what people don't understand. There is a lot of hard feelings on from a lot of people that was involved in these things for years. I get it. It don't have to be friendship. All you can at least do is agree to leave each other the fuck alone. That's all it has to be to start out with. Just agree. If we see you, we will say nothing to you. We'll just fucking go about our business. You go about your business. We'll leave each other the fuck alone. That's a good place to start. Then, after a period of years of getting along enough that we've left each other alone, then you never know who you might end up being friends with. It could happen, but you got to start somewhere, and that's about the only starting point you're going to get. Is at least start with we all agree to leave each other the fuck alone. That'd be a good about the only maybe place where we're going to get to. I don't think there's going to be a lot of just sudden friendships. I just don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, it's a bit crazy. There are cameras everywhere now, and you literally can't between cameras, GPS trackers, and things you don't know that there's GPS trackers in. Uh, there's you literally can't fart without somebody knowing about it. You can't. What's up, Naomi? How you doing? I hope I forget already. Was it North Dakota or South Dakota? North. I hope the Dakotas are treating you well. Funny thing is they had Naomi. They had a little horse show at the campsite where we was at. We went putt putting, and they had the horse show going on. And I was talking about horseback riding, and I was like, I think I only ever done it once, and it was somebody when I was a kid. It was somebody like led you around a wee little tiny ring, like by a rope. That's the only time I've ever been on a horse. It's not that I would. If somebody asked me tomorrow, would you like to go horseback riding? First, I'd be like, uh, fucking, you better have a big horse. horse, horse. If I get on a horse, the first thing you're gonna hear is, "Ugh, get this motherfucker off me." It better be a pretty big horse. But I wouldn't be opposed to it. There's no reason why horses will fuck you up. Don't get me wrong, but for some reason they don't scare me or anything like that. I don't have no fear of horses. I might have a little trouble getting up on one. I tried jet skiing once, and I was even skinnier then, or not jet skiing, water skiing. And believe it or not, those fucking things are really hard to get up on, especially like he would tug me, and I would hold my legs out real fucking tight, and yeah, I couldn't for the life of me, I couldn't water ski. I tried really hard, and I was skinnier then, so it wasn't just because I was a fat guy, but I usually tried just about anything once. I even said when I was younger, I would always like to go skydiving at least once just to try it. But now I'm older, and probably not. If I was younger, and maybe I don't know. I'm old now, and I'm just about everything makes me hurt everywhere. So I don't know. Jumping out of a plane just doesn't sound like anything that's that interesting to do. Uh, I don't know. I'm really good at pushing myself to do like if something like you're something kind of scares you. I'm good at just kind of swallowing that initial and just kind of just just do it. That's gotten me in some trouble too. But whatever. But I'm usually pretty good. I think I could get my ass to jump out of an airplane. You never know until the moment's there. Uh, but I've always been pretty good at facing fears. I always tell people it's not the strongest people in the world aren't the people who are never afraid of anything. The strongest people in the world are the people who aren't afraid to admit things scare them, but they face them fears and they do it anyway, even though they're scared of it. Those are to me are the strongest motherfuckers out there because it's normal to have things that you're afraid of. If you're afraid of anything, you're probably a psycho killer, but it's normal. It's normal to have fears. It's the strongest and the bravest of us are the people that can face those fears and push through them even when they scare you. Ooh, and I'm excited. Next week, football season starts. I don't preseason doesn't count. I don't count preseason, but next weekend, football season starts, and yeah, I'm excited. Even though I cannot fucking believe the Pittsburgh Steelers were dumb enough to pick up Aaron Rodgers. How dumb! I was so pissed off about that. I'm still pissed off about it. I mean, granted, if he does really good, then I'll forgive him. But I think the odds of that, I think that they'd been better off to bring back Ben Roethlisberger than to try Aaron Rodgers. I just I think that I still think Ben was getting a little slower. Don't get me wrong, but Ben still had more of an arm than 90% of quarterbacks when they pushed him out. They pushed him out too soon. They had a shitty offensive line that couldn't do anything, and Ben Roethlisberger took all the blame for it. At any rate, we're going to find out. We're going to find out starting next week how this is going to go. It's either going to go really well or it's going to go really, really bad. At any rate, all right, guys. I was going to try to make this a short show, but I got a big mouth and I ramble a lot. That's pretty much what my show's been about here for most of the summer. Come wintertime, we'll try to get back into like having some guests and some themes, like things, special things to talk about during an episode and all that, like I was doing last winter. We'll get back to that when winter gets here. Summer's too crazy and hectic for me to be able to do that right now. So I do apologize, and I'm aware of that, and we'll steer back to that, some more of that come winter time. But for now, you get the HardWire rambling and just chill stream once a week. That's how it is for now. And I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do about fucking football season. I do remember last year that was always an issue. I was always on, like, during football time, like when everybody was watching their game. I don't know. I'll think about it. Maybe we'll move or try to do something a little different, or maybe we'll just try to aim for the in between. Usually, like it'll be the last quarter, like you're fucked up and your team's losing, or the first quarter, or maybe I don't know. I'll think of something. And she wanted to apparently stop in and say hi to everybody. Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
For anybody that doesn't know, that's my wife Peaches, and we love all of you. Thank you for your support, and hopefully, as time goes on, we'll get to meet more of you, and we've had a good time meeting people and traveling around and sharing our adventures, if you want to call them that, with everybody. We love you. Thanks for stopping in, seeing the show, and God bless all of you. Till next week.
Hittin' it with HardWire, we're burning it bright. Living on the edge, we'll ride through the night. No fear in our hearts, just the roar of the steel. Together we rise, now this life feels real. Down a new path on that twisted black line. A YouTube dream where his past can't confine. With every rev, he's reclaiming his soul, teaching the world how to ride, how to roll. Rising up high when the shadows surround.